morning, Kinetic News Daily. This is June 7th, and we're going to talk about Henry Nowak, 18-year-old boy, university student, a whole life ahead of him. We did a show on it the other day, and the mainstream news just isn't giving you everything. They're playing it as a victim story, which it's more than that. He was a human being. Uh, 18-year-old student. He had his entire life in front of him. The perpetrator was Vikram Syed Dugwa. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. Anyway, he was 22 years old, walking the streets of Southampton, England, openly carrying large lethal weapons, ceremonial Persian daggers, ritual carapan. It was December, and Henry was simply walking home from a night out. He was like 18-year-old kid. He was out having a good night. He was coming home and he come across Mr. Dugwood and his brother apparently was there and noticed that he was carrying a massive blade. The confrontation in some way broke out. I wasn't there, so I can't tell you what happened. And the only one alive has been lying about everything. So, you can't trust anything coming out of them. Either way, he grabbed Henry's phone. He, he drew a dagger and he started stabbing Henry. Henry was unarmed. He was completely helpless. And the size of this guy in comparisons to Henry was, unless Henry was a avid fighter, he was going to be taken easily. And he just ripped through Henry, stabbing him in the chest several times. Five five times, I believe the number was, and then he collapsed, drowning in his own blood. Obviously, his lungs were not obviously, but no doubtedly, his lungs were filling with his own blood. Um, then Mr. Dagwood, the attacker, stood over Henry and pulled out his phone and filmed Henry dying, taunting him on his phone. And then the betrayal of the state, the fabricated lies that come from all of them. The Southampton police. They arrived on the scene. The killer immediately went on the offensive. Dugwood, Digwall. He fabricated a complete and utter blatant lie, claiming that Henry had launched a racial motivated attack against him, against Mr. Dugwall. The guy with the sword and the two daggers that you're allowed to carry if you're a certain race or religion, and then you're allowed to carry lethal weapons. But Henry, being a everyday, normal, good kid, white, Caucasian, well, he's not allowed to defend himself, protect himself. He's not allowed to carry weapons. So, yes, Henry was armed with his phone, which Mr. Dugwa took away from him and then began to stab him with the dagger blade that he was allowed to carry by law. Either way, the responding officers completely bought Mr. Dugwood's story, didn't check a single fact, looked at 18-year-old Henry, the boy bleeding out, 5 stab wounds, damn, begging for help. We can hear in the videotape that they finally released, reluctantly as hell. Henry was begging for his life. He was asking for help. He was telling the officers he had been stabbed. Nothing. In fact, one of the officers said, "I don't believe you." "I don't think so, mate," I believe is what he said. "I don't think so, mate." Then he rolled him over, drug him around a little bit while Henry's bleeding out, dying. And this cop, officer of said law, who's guilty as hell, as accessories to before and after the fact of Henry's death. We'll get back to that. But in the meantime, this officer, protector, server of peace, rolled Henry over, handcuffed Henry, and while Henry took his last moments of breath, he heard his rights read to him about how he was being arrested, which I'm sure was the least on Henry's mind, being Henry had seconds to live after that. So the officer handcuffed Henry, rolled him over, and then started reading him his rights. Police forced Henry onto the pavement, slapped him in cuffs, let him bleed out. They weaponized the law against dying Henry. Because why? Because he was white, Caucasian? I don't know. Why would they do that? They didn't even check anything. The fallout, the cover up, all of it has been going on. He was sentenced, Mr. Dugwood was sentenced on Monday. And he was sentenced to prison for life. But I'm sure he can get out in a minimum of, they got minimum of 21 years. So that means he'll probably be out in less than 10. Absolute cold-blooded murder and torture, filming him taunting Henry while he died. He's going to walk free. His family, Henry's family, left with an empty chair at Christmas forever. It's unbelievable. The corruption of the network, the corruption of the law, the corruption of the system. It's way past anybody's lines. This wasn't just a lone actor, Mr. Dugwood's. Mother, father, brother were all involved, hiding the weapon, lying about it, and they were all charged and convicted for actively helping hiding the weapon, erasing evidence, lying straight out to the investigators. Not the cops that were there, because the cops that were there weren't interested in finding anything out. The public has been exploding, erupting, and, no doubt. I am happy to see that. I am sad as to why, but it takes things like this to bring people up, to make them pay attention. And they're demanding full independent forensic investigation as to why the accusations of racism, which is what it was, against Henry. And it completely paralyzed the police from doing their duties, which was saving Henry's life. So that's what I say. They are accessories to before and after the fact of Henry's death. Both those officers need to be imprisoned. And yes, for life. Accessories to before and after the fact. Not only that, they put damn handcuffs on Henry. Didn't check him one time. Criminal negligence beyond acceptance. And they will find no forgiveness, not from me. I can't do it. They murdered Henry. And they were complicit in it by not doing their duties. And now Henry's dead. So absolutely, they are guilty as accessories to before and after the fact by law. And we'll just leave it at that. Sad days, people. Things need to change. So thank you for your time. Thank you for standing with the independent media, supporting this broadcast and all the others. And if you haven't already, please hit the like, subscribe, follow us, help Kinetic News Daily out. We're just getting started here. And maybe you can jump over to PayHip and purchase one of our books. They're real cheap. We put them in there just for donation purposes. Uh, so we hope you enjoy it. So take a run over there. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. Kinetic News Daily. We are live, we are real, and we are out. Hope to see you next time.